Memphis, Egypt, spring of 522 BCE. King Cambyses II of Persia lifts a golden cup to his lips, wine dripping down his beard. A messenger bursts into the chamber with news from home. His brother Bardiya has seized the throne. Cambyses lunges for his sword, but in his drunken fury, the blade pierces his own thigh. The wound festers. Within weeks, the conqueror of Egypt lies dead on a Syrian roadside, and the greatest empire on earth spirals toward annihilation. 7 years earlier, Cambyses inherits the Achaemenid throne from his father, Cyrus the Great, founder of an empire stretching from the Aegean Sea to the Hindu Kush. The new king commands 50,000 soldiers and rules over 23 subject nations. But Cambyses carries a dark secret. Before departing for his Egyptian campaign in 525 BCE, he orders the execution of his younger brother, Bardiya. The prince dies in silence. No public announcement follows. Only a handful of trusted nobles know the truth, and Cambyses intends to keep it that way forever. The Egyptian campaign proves militarily triumphant, but personally ruinous. Cambyses captures Pharaoh Psamtik III at the Battle of Pelusium and annexes the ancient kingdom into his empire. Yet success breeds arrogance. The king executes Egyptian priests, desecrates temples, and according to Greek historian Herodotus, kicks his pregnant wife to death in a fit of rage. His behavior grows increasingly erratic. He orders a disastrous expedition into Ethiopia that costs thousands of lives. His generals whisper of madness. Back in Persia, a Median priest named Gaumata watches these developments with calculating eyes. Gaumata serves at the temple in Pasargadae, the empire's ceremonial capital. He bears a striking physical resemblance to the dead Prince Bardiya. More importantly, he understands that almost no one in the empire knows Bardiya is dead. On March 11th, 522 BCE, Gaumata ascends a mountain fortress called Sikayavati and declares himself Bardiya, rightful king of Persia. The population, exhausted by Cambyses' brutality and heavy taxation, embraces the supposed prince enthusiastically. The imposter moves swiftly to consolidate power. He grants 3 years of tax exemption to all subjects. He cancels military conscription. Satraps across 23 provinces accept his authority without question. Within weeks, Gaumata controls an empire of 10 million people from a throne built entirely on lies. Messengers race toward Egypt to inform Cambyses of his brother's miraculous return. Cambyses receives the news and understands instantly what has happened. He knows Bardiya is dead because he ordered the killing himself. A pretender sits on his throne. The king gathers his army and begins the march home. But the infected wound in his thigh spreads poison through his bloodstream. Near the Syrian town of Hamath, Cambyses dies in agony, leaving no heir, no instructions, and no one alive who can prove Bardiya's death. Gaumata rules for 7 months. He avoids public appearances, refuses to leave the palace complex, and forbids any nobleman from the previous court to enter his presence. These precautions cannot last forever. A Persian nobleman named Otanes grows suspicious when his daughter, a member of the royal harem, reports that the new king lacks ears. Cambyses had once ordered Gaumata's ears cut off as punishment for some forgotten offense. Otanes shares his discovery with 6 other nobles, including a young military commander named Darius. On September 29th, 522 BCE, the 7 conspirators approach the fortress of Sikayovati. They talk their way past the guards, claiming urgent business with the king. Inside the royal chambers, they find Gaumata and his brother Patizithas armed with only bows. A brutal fight erupts. Darius drives his spear through the imposter's chest. The false king dies on his stolen throne, 7 months after his audacious fraud began. Darius claims the crown, but the empire refuses to accept him. Over the next year, 19 separate revolts erupt across Persian territory. Babylon declares independence twice. Media, Elam, Parthia, and Armenia all raise rebel armies. Darius fights 9 battles in a single year, killing 6 rebel kings with his own hands, according to his later inscriptions. The death toll reaches into the hundreds of thousands. By December 521 BCE, Darius finally restores order. He carves his version of these events into a cliff face at Behistun, 100 meters above the ground, in 3 languages. The inscription calls Gaumata a liar and a usurper. Modern historians debate whether Darius himself might have killed the real Bardiya and invented the imposter story. The truth died with Cambyses on that Syrian roadside. The Achaemenid Empire survives and eventually flourishes under Darius. But the wounds of 522 BCE never fully heal. A single drunken king, a single secret murder, and a single ruled lie brought the mightiest empire on earth within inches of total collapse. Some kingdoms fall to foreign armies. Persia nearly destroyed itself.